Okay, on our lawnmower today we have the stack here, and I want to replace the bearings in the spindle here. I'm going to replace the whole spindle. This bearing is not very good anymore, and then over there that I replaced too, since I have everything open. Let's see what I ordered here. We have this part. You see what a great quality this is. Like very nice, smooth inside, no sharp edges. Very good there. And then we do have a new spindle. Also very good looking, great manufactured. Comes with all the bolts and nuts you need. You see, here's one more. There's another one. So both spindles here. There is the bolts that you need to mount your blades, and then we have 8 of the bolts that fix the spindle on the deck. And in order to install this, we have to take off the blades. We have to take off those covers, and then we can get to those spindles here. Now let me start this by removing the blades first. If you remove this nut here, and then the blade will probably spin, and the easiest is to put a piece of wood underneath, either on this side when you turn the nut this way, or on this side here when you turn the nut that way. There's number 1. And here's number 2. That's how easy that was. I would suggest to wear gloves when you take your blades off. Also inspect them for damages and replace them if necessary. At this point we can remove the belt. Let's put that to the side. So for this next step, I prefer to wear gloves because this thing could be spinning even though the brakes are on, and we need to remove this part since we don't replace it, and we need to get to those screws down here, and then that would be in the way, right? So we get the right size of tool here. We hold this with one hand and remove those screws. And we do this also on both sides. There we go. And then you can remove those. Sometimes they come off easy, sometimes it's a little more. Okay. So here we are already at the last step of getting those mandrels out. We have 4 of those 1/2-inch bolts. Make sure you have a tool that fits very well on here, and it doesn't matter when they break off when you unscrew those here. Okay, they will be on there for a very long time. If water puddles in here, they may not be in a very good shape, those bolts, but if you break them off, they break off. That's no big deal, because the new part will have those bolts available. So let's try this and try to get them out. This one was very easy. Look at that. This one is very easy. Keep this part around so that you know where it belongs. This one and this one, and there we have the old mandrel out already. What happens to the mandrel that you have to replace it is bad bearing, or sometimes the whole mandrel can break off because this is cast aluminum, and so when that breaks off because you hit something hard with your blade, like a wood or a piece of concrete, then they can break. So you see how rotten those screws are down here. See, that one had already a problem. Come on, guys. This one was easy, right? There it goes. This piece. And then we just lift it up and get the new mandrels in here. Ui. Sometimes those nuts need a little bit convincing. Pull this out. See that? Okay. There we are here. Our bolt. Here. There we go here. Very good. And then we put that screw back on. Yep. Very good. Look how smooth that runs now. There we go. Our two mandrels. Now the two new ones. So for putting this back on, we need to put the nuts on here by hand, and we cannot forget those guides. Okay, on this side here, that makes it a little more difficult. By hand, so that you don't cross that by accident. We are not forgetting to put the guides in. Okay, now how far you do this here is a different story. One, so it makes it 4 on this side, and then once you have a thread in by hand this far, then you use a torque wrench to tighten them. That's 1, 2, 3, before. Okay, so now we have the guide on here where it was before, and the bolts torqued on with 40 foot-pounds. To get a good hold of the mandrel that I had to cross-thread it. Of course, this one is always in the way. There it comes in well. This one comes in well. No. Some extension here too. And again, we use a torque wrench to torque it down. 240 in this case. In my case, it starts raining here. There it is. And now our next step is to put the pulleys back on. So I have my pulley for this side. Now there is a washer underneath here. The washer needs to stay on there. Okay. The pulley goes on like this. You're going to make sure that your pulley still has teeth. If it doesn't have teeth, it will spin around in there, right? Especially when this whole thing, when you replace the parts because you hit something with your blade, this can happen that this strips out too. So make sure it still has teeth. And then we put this back on. Oh. So I suggest too to use gloves for this. So you saw it coming at me. There we go. So in this case too, we still have teeth. The washer is underneath here, important. Taking this brake out of the way. Put this on here. Can keep the brake on there, it's fine here on this side now. There it is. Look at it. Okay. So, okay, after inspecting the belt for any damages on the belt, we put it back on, or we replace it, right? And now you make sure that you don't get the belt in the way of anything. So it goes all the way over here. It goes around this one here, there, between those two clamps, there, and here. Yeah, so look at that. We'll be able to put the plates back on. Again, we had new bolts. Sorry about this. We have new bolts. And then we make sure that the blade fits here on the mandrel. And then we just insert the new bolt like this here. And we use a torque wrench to torque it to the manufacturer specification. I am going to put a piece of wood underneath here. Alright, so I'm having a torque wrench here set to 45. Well, that looks great. To have our nut in here. Again, we insert it by hand first to make sure the thread is cut nice. this, and then we use a torque of 45. And then you can see here that it keeps spinning, so I need to put a piece of wood underneath there, and now we do 45. There we go. Alright, the last step now is to put the covers back on. Again, trying to get the screws in here by hand. Hand thread the first few windings in there. And then you can use the tool. Not too tight, because this is all plastic. So this is our cover, and I have 2 bolts here. One over here. I think once you have an extension on here, it's sometimes easier to hold. It's a little rusty here and crusty. A little grease would help. It's good. There we go. Wonderful. So now the deck can go back on. Now we do have to install the deck back into the mower. So, alright. Now it's back on. We can let it run and try it out, how it works.